everyone, and welcome to our first episode of Persistence. This is a podcast sponsored by the Office of Student Retention here at Shippensburg University. And today we have two hosts for you. My name is Nathan Favretto. I am currently a retention coach here at Ship, and I'm joined by John Ograh, our diverse student retention coach. We wanted to bring this podcast to you just so that you can understand what we do on campus, bring some value to you, and maybe build a connection so that you can come see us throughout the semester. We saw a need for this based out of, students maybe not doing so well, staff and faculty not knowing exactly what students are going through across campus. And we wanted to really bridge that gap. So we're very excited that you're here today and listening with us. And I think today, really, we're just going to go into who we are, what our plans are for this podcast, and then go from there. John, does that sound good?
Yes.
Great. So, John, can you tell me just a little bit about yourself, and then I'll chime in a little bit with a little bit about myself as well.
That sounds good. My name is John Ograh. I work here at Ship as a diverse student retention coach. I am happy to announce that I'm a proud Ship alumni. I graduated studying counseling and college student placement. Going forward, before immigrating to the United States, I studied education, philosophy, and religion. And having studied counseling and college student personnel, I see myself as a very engaging, enthusiastic, optimistic student success coach that use everything he has to engage students on campus. So that's pretty much about myself.
That's great. So, I think there were a couple key things there. We share the same position as, student retention coaches, but I don't really think people know exactly what that is. So, whenever we say student retention coach, we talk about, the programming aspect, doing things like this, relating to students on social media, building programs out for skills building. And on top of that, we're both Shippensburg graduates, which is very important because we know what these students are going through right now. Myself, I'll be a two-time Ship grad here in May, graduating my master's, and I had my bachelor's done in psychology in 2019. So I know what it's like to, go to Reasoner or Reisner for breakfast on Saturdays. I know what it's like to go to, uh, the Cub for food on Wednesdays and all that stuff. So I think there's a couple key points there. We can relate to these students, we can work with these students, and that's really what our job is here on campus. A little bit about myself, as I said, I graduated in 2019, graduating again here in May. I'm also a first gen student. And John, are you a first gen or no?
Yeah, so that's a good question. So in the American context, I am, but in the African context, I am not.
So explain that African context to me.
Yes, so Shippensburg University defined a first-gen students as a students whose parents or guardian did not attend a 4 years college. In African context, a, for, a first-gen student is defined as somebody whose parents or guardian did not attend, high school. Unfortunately,
Oh,
my guardian attended high school, but they didn't attend, university or college. So it's like having two two poles, one here and the other here.
right. Right. Yeah, that makes total sense. My parents, so my dad is a veteran. He was in the Air Force here in the US, and my mom actually has her associates in nursing, and she's finishing her bachelor's over time online. But yeah, they were neither of them went to a 4 year college. So I am technically a first gen student also. And so will my brother be because he starts college next year. So, and that's something else that we need to really speak about is, we offer, I actually oversee we oversee the First Gen Student Alliance here on campus, and if you don't know what that is, please get in contact with us. I'll be giving our social media information here at the end, but I want you all to understand that you are not alone on campus, because I think that was something that I felt a lot my first year here as a first gen student. I didn't know what financial aid was, what the FAFSA was, or what signing my life away for student debt was. Um, but those are all things that we can help you with, that we can help you understand. And with that, we also help students build schedules, and I think a key piece of building schedules is actually building in free time. So John, what do you like to do in your free time whenever you're not working between your two jobs that you have? What do you like to do to relax? What do you do for yourself?
Yeah, that's a tough question. So, at my free time, I like surfing the web, because I set for myself a lot of expectations. So I sought the way to compare practices, what Shippensburg is doing, and what other universities are doing, to see where we are lagging behind and to see how we can improve our practice. Having done that, I also enjoy at my free time to read politics. Um, because I see that a lot of students that I meet come in with this whole idea of what is happening in the environment, in the society, in politics. And I feel that my job as a diverse student success coach should be able, at least to some extent, to address these issues. And as I've always told you, I feel very happy each
So
time I
let me ask you, you said something about you loving to learn about politics. Now, are you still keeping up with African politics? Or are you still keeping, do you really see yourself learning more about the US politics, political system? What does that look like for you?
Yeah, so to be able to answer this question, it's like, let me draw your attention back to what we learned sometime in Dr. Shop's class.
Sure.
Um, the microsystem theory of Brophen-Benner. So you see that everything is interrelated in terms of the microsystem, the mesosystem, and things like that. In as
Hmm.
much as I love learning about African politics. Now that I am in the United States, my focus is the politics of the United States, because I need to understand the happenings in my environment, right? I need to know what is going on in my society. That way I can connect, I can build relationships. You know what I mean? So I can
Yeah.
connect, build relationships, just like the last concluded elections. I try as much as possible to follow those elections, because each time I communicate and relate with people in Africa, they want me to give them information of what is taking place here in the United States.
Right. So how often do you speak to people from back where you're from? Do you have family still there, or what does that look like for you? I'm just so interested because, you were technically like an international student, right? So you immigrated to the US. Go ahead, sorry.
Yeah, absolutely. So my family is still in Africa, and so I try to communicate with them at least once in a week, uh, because we have a lot of job to do and a lot of
Hmm.
research, things like that. But I try like every Saturdays or Sunday to talk to my mom, because she means a lot to me, and to also check up with my distant relative. I think that's pretty much once in a week.
Gotcha. That's great. I think it's so important that um, students think that they have to be all about academics whenever they're in college. When in reality, it's a really healthy balance between a lot of different things, right? So whenever we come to college, it's a difference between, right now, should I be working on this project, that project? I have an exam coming up. We get so bogged down, almost like so stretched thin with these academics that we forgot that we should be taking time for ourselves also. So I think the way that me and you model that, finding times for ourselves, whether that's doing more learning on our own time, or, for me, it's very mind numbing exercises of watching Netflix for an hour or two, or, what have you. Um, I think it's so important that we promote that for students, because a lot of students don't get that from anyone else on campus. It's very, you should be working on your academics 8 or 9 hours a day outside of the classroom, or whatever. Um, but me and you both know just from our studies that it's so important that the student has outside resources also. So let me ask you, with everything going on in the world, non-COVID related, I want to ask you, if you could change something about a student's experience, something about the ship, not just specific to Shippensburg, but maybe about an overall college student. If you could change one thing with like a magic wand, what would you change? How would you fix something?
Yeah, I would like to answer this question conversely by saying that to change anything at all, whether in Shippensburg or in society, in other university, I'll prefer to engage in more relationships.
Mm,
More relationships. I understand that every campus have this culture of trying to build inclusive relationships, but with the outbreak of COVID and every other thing that has happened all over the world, there seems to be a kind of disconnection, even in the way students, engage with campus resources, engage with their professors, engage even with our student success coach. So I use the word more relationships because I would like to go the extra mile to see that students are engaged. Sometimes when you go to Risner to take a breakfast, there are some students you see they appear disconnected from you, and the point is that we will build this more relationship even at dining times, even during sports, even just walking along the hallway, just to say hi to a student means a lot to that student. And one
mhm.
student feels that, they are accepted, they feel welcomed within that society or in that campus, they feel that sense of community, sense of identity. Then they will be able to relate with our student success coach, and they will be able to now open up to us what is affecting them. I was reading something from a renowned author in student engagement. His name is Kuhn, and it was saying that when performance expectations are set, students are able to engage. But conversely, students disengage when that relationship is not built. So the only way you can build that relationship is for us student success coach to go out of our way, even when the campus resources isn't, favorable, but we're able to say, hey, my job is to see that this student succeed. And for this student to succeed, they must understand what success means. For them to see what success means, John, I should be able to, show out, live out success in the way I give out um, resources to them, in the way I talk about the good of the campus, in the way I talked about their career and their future. I think that's where I will put it.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. So, you know, let me ask you, why do you think students should come and talk to us? I've been thinking about this a lot lately. Um, if we had to summarize what we do and why students should come talk to us, how do we build value in that relationship that they can make with us? You know, like, what's the purpose of them coming to talk to you or myself in Maori 243, I think it is, or 244, 245?
Yeah.
Um, what does that relationship look like? Like, what can we do for students, so that they feel like they should come and talk to us?
Yeah, I think the first answer there is support. Is
Mm,
support. Yeah,
okay.
yes. The students are from given family at home. And so no students live in isolation. And when they come from their family, the campus is like a cell of another family. Now, when these students do not see that family connection, they will disengage. And once they disengage, they will not be able to find out the path, the route to success. Therefore, when students come to us, the reason they should come to us is that we already have the resources. We are like a model for them. We motivate students' enthusiasm. We have already passed through the road that they are passing, and that is why we are called student retention coach. So our job as coaches is to give them that support, guide them in their choice of resources on campus,
Hmm.
give them all that they needed to know on campus. If I want to digress a little, the theory of students' involvement by Epstein talks about students feel engaged when they feel involved. And there's no way students can feel, involved when they do not know the path to take.
Right.
And
Right.
for them to know the path to take, we need to engage them in relationship, in interaction, in communication by asking certain strategic questions. Questions like, hey, what is your goal for this semester? We all know that every student's goal is to achieve academic excellence at the end of each semester. But when the student come to campus and cannot locate the financial aid office, does not know students' accounts, let me use myself as an example. As a grad student of Shippensburg, I didn't know where to pay my fees, right?
Mm.
And I took it for granted. Each day I was reading my email thinking that they will send me email. But it got to a point that I almost missed the scheduling time until I approached my course advisor and I say, hey, I've not gotten email with regards to payment. And he said, hey, he's very sorry that my payment was due a month ago.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So he walked me down to Old May and we met with the student account. Then I paid my fee. I even paid late payment. And that was, an eye-opener to me that when student gets this information on time, which our office is able to offer them, right, they will
Mm.
not miss the deadline. I think I'll
Right.
stop there.
No, yeah, no, I think that was great. It shows a lot of what we can offer students, what we do for students. And that's really what our whole job is coaching students through whatever they're going through. It's literally in
Sure.
the title of our job. So, I really think that um, that's how we can be supporting students right now, especially in COVID, is by giving them the tools to be successful, whether that's in their academics or whether that's in their social life or, what have you. I really see us as a way to, bridge that gap between the student and the resource, or even just us being that resource for them. So, this work that we do is so fun. I love coming into work today, whether that's turning on my computer or, going into the office. Um, why did you choose to work with students? Like what was it that said, I want to work with students and build relationships with them and support them through these things? Because you have a couple different career paths, right? So you have a couple different degrees that could have gone in a couple different ways.
Yes. Yes. I chose to work with students because students are valuable asset for that institution. Without the student, the institution do not exist. Just take just take a picture of Shippensburg. You have old maid building, you have shipping hall, and yet no human being in there, right? It looks
Right.
like a
Yeah.
dead environment. So students give life to to the goals, objectives, and aspirations of every university and every college. And I felt that
Hmm.
because students are invaluable resources, I should focus on them because I believe when students when students are helped to succeed, they in turn go into the society to develop the society. Because students, when they learn properly, they are the ones that will push out factors of production. So while I was growing up, I have a lot of people who taught me, and I actually value what I learned from them. And my little way of giving back to the society, giving back to the college that built me where I am today, is to also guide students. I take joy in teaching. I take joy in mentorship. I take joy in coaching.
Right. Yeah. No, that makes total sense. For me, it was um, so I don't know if you know this, but I know a lot of the people that listen to this won't know this either, but I actually dropped out after my first year of college. So I graduated high school back in 2013, went right into a community college after my first semester. My GPA was a 0.56. My second semester GPA was like a 1.5, I think. I was never the best student. I was just not ready for college. Needless to say, it took special people in my life, special people out of college to get me back on the right track and figure out exactly what I wanted to do. And that wasn't, that wasn't them telling me, oh, you have to go to college, you have to stay here, you have to do, X, Y, and Z classes. That was them really sitting down with me and figuring out what was best for me, not what was best for the college, but what was best for me. And that really stuck with me over the years, to where, I think it was my second year here at Shippensburg after I transferred back in. And I finally figured out, this is what I want to do. I want to be that special person that was there for me, for someone else. You know, I want to be there for students as they go through these times. We never expected COVID to hit. We never thought anything of a global pandemic. Um, but it was almost like perfect timing that I was able to step into this role, that we were able to step into this role, during probably one of the most challenging times for these students' lives you know and I truly think that me and you are going to be the special people on this campus to make a difference and help those students. So we talk about this mentorship and inspiration and all this stuff. um, who on campus or who in your life is a mentor or your inspiration?
Yeah, so I see mentorship as influence. So the first person I would say is my mentor here on campus is my boss, uh, Mrs. Rocha Plummer.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, she's just a wonderful mentor to me. Having worked with her in my internship and now working directly under her, there's a lot that she has taught me. She has built in me a sense of self, self-authorship, and self-esteem. She made me believe that even though originally I immigrated to the United States, that I can still be the best person, right? That I
Yeah.
want to be. And that was something that broke the ice for me
Mm.
because ordinarily I'm somebody that once in a while we prefer to lay back and watch from a distance.
Hmm.
But she made me understand that, hey, you can move forward from that distance. And once I began to move forward from that distance, I found myself. I found that I can still be the best of person, and that is where I am. The second person that is, of great mentorship to me on campus is Dr. Matthew Shaw. Dr. Shaw happens to be my course advisor while I was studying my master's degree. As I said, he was more than just a course advisor. He
Right.
was like my success coach. He
Yeah.
guided me like virtually all resources on campus, right? He was
Hmm.
always checking on me. And once we're in class, I was able to relate with whatever he was teaching me. There are sometimes he teaches and I'm not able to understand. I go to his office, he's always there, to open the door for me. So with these two influences I've gotten from Shippensburg, I am indebted to this university. And the only way I can pay back these good things I've learned is to become mentor to my students.
Yeah. No, I totally agree with you. I think mentorship was modeled for me. I'm not sure if you remember Kaz Sortino. He was in some of our classes. Do you remember him?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
do.
So Kaz, is very open about his physical disabilities, um, and he was actually my supervisor during my undergrad, and then we became peers once I started my master's program. And for me, being someone with a physical disability, it was so important to me personally that I was able to see someone who looked like me doing what they loved. And I,
Yeah.
I think that that's really what solidified this idea of identity matters, representation matters, because I saw it. It literally impacted me. It truly showed me that I can do anything that I wanted to, and that I could be successful at it.
Yeah.
Because in higher ed, around campus, you don't typically see people with outwardly physical disabilities walking around campus. It's just, I think the statistic is 25, I believe it was in 2012, they did a study. About 25% of people who self-identified with physical disabilities have bachelor's degree.
Hmm.
Of that 25%, about 13% have a higher degree than that.
Yeah.
That's amazing. That's
It is.
what representation is. So, for me, that's what a role model looked like. It was someone who was willing to go first. I saw him going first in his area, when no one else looked like him in his classes or, something like that. He was still able to come in, be successful, and do the work.
Yeah.
And really, that's what motivated me. That was my inspiration. Um, I'm not sure if I actually ever told him that, but I'll have to give him a call after this and tell him that. But
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So mentorship, inspiration, it's also important. And I think we're going to be wrapping up here in a couple minutes. But John, as we wrap up, what is your favorite part of working at Shippensburg? What is it? The people? Is it the students? Is it the work? What is it truly?
Yes, my favorite part working in Shippensburg is the students, because as I've said before, students are valuable asset in the institution. Each time I see students, it reminds me of my own identity because I love studying, I love going to school. So I see the student an extension of my goal, an extension of my aspirations and objective. So just take a moment and look at Shippensburg without people in it. It looks so empty. It looks so lifeless. So students is like the soul of the institution. Secondly, I love the environmental feel of Shippensburg. It's such a quiet place, and it matches my personality. It matches my expectation of what an ideal campus environment should be like. I am African. For my 2 years in studying in Shippensburg, I never for once experienced racial slur. So it was something that I think I would like to also give back to my students to support them.
Right. And I think you're fortunate to not have had that experience because, I think so many of our students, whether they're African American, Black, Brown, different race or ethnicities, that there is always a little bit part, it happens. It happens on campus. It happens in town. So I think you're very fortunate to have not gone through that, and it speaks a lot to your character for trying to spread that over to students moving forward also, saying that Shippensburg, while it does have its quirks or, it may have some racial injustices, we can be the change to promote a better environment for students. I think that's truly amazing. But I think for me, my favorite part of working at Shippensburg is just being able to give back. Shippensburg was such a great place for me to continue my education after dropping out of my community college and coming back to school, um, because it was such an environment that gave me hope. Hope for a better future for not only myself but for my family, changing the trajectory. Especially as a first gen student, um, it's just so important to have a college degree right now. And a lot of people notice that, and that's why they're going back to school. But as we end up here, I just want to let everyone know that is listening that we appreciate you spending time with us today. We thank you for your support. We look forward to hearing from you. I'm actually going to be talking a little bit about our social media. You can follow us on Instagram and Twitter at SU underscore student underscore retention. And it will actually be on the cover of this podcast, so you can see it there as well. Me and John invite you to come talk to us. invite us to your student groups so that we can do some skills and building with you. And we hope to talk to you soon. But John, I thank you for spending time with me today. I thank you for co-hosting this with me. Is there anything else that you want to leave everyone with?
Yes, I'd just like to thank every one of us for listening to our podcast. And we promise to make this very exciting in the near future. Be on the lookout for us on our social media pages. We have very exciting information to share with you as we journey together to increase retention here at Shippensburg University.
Absolutely. Working to get you across that finish line and across that stage in 4 years. All right, John, thank you.
Thank you.